What's good, everyone? I'm Zayas, and today I'm here to review Attack on Titan. Yesterday marks the 1 year anniversary of when Attack on Titan ended, and if you can say nothing else, it created a pretty great anime adaptation, and it was vastly popular. The start of the series is really nothing spectacular, but I wouldn't call it horrible either. This is Hajime Isayama's first serialized work, so I can see that he was trying to get the hang of things with how to write a story and how to do the art. But the art does start out very rough and raw, and it undergoes some gradual improvement throughout the rest of the series. I'd say the beginning of this series has pretty poor artwork, but once you get to the end of the series, it's serviceable enough. Takahiko Inoue, the author of Vagabond, says that he spends the most amount of time on his character's eyes, and he feels as if they're the most important to character design. And I think in Attack on Titan, the eyes do lack a little bit. Some of the main characters manage to get a few emotions across using their eyes, like fear or determination, but any other emotion in between these is sort of just left out of the picture. Isayama is really good at drawing stuff like the big epic scenes with titans towering over the walls, or stuff like action between titans and humans. But the problem is he only gives us about one or two of these scenes per chapter, and the rest of the panels in this manga don't really live up to the same quality of artwork that he puts into these one or two shots. The characters are pretty one-dimensional. I don't really mind how simple he made the characters, but what I do mind is when he takes these simple characters and tries to act like they are multi-dimensional and there's interesting motivations behind them, which he does do in a few panels early on. He doesn't do it too much, so it's not a big deal to me. But characters like Eren, whose only goal at the beginning is just to be free. There's characters like Armin, who only wants to be useful. There's characters like Misaka, and the only thing she cares about is Eren. Again, being simple isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just when he acts like he's trying to do something more with these characters. But I think Isayama quickly picks up on the fact that he doesn't need these characters to be super complex, and instead he focuses more on the story, which is the main appeal of Attack on Titan, I feel, and is the best part of this entire manga. The characters are more like a driving force behind the stories. They're kind of like a cog in a greater machine, and they're hidden pretty well in the background because their motivations are clear now. What's the mystery behind this entire series, and what's the story here? There's great build up in this series. There's tons of anticipation as to what's happening next. There's betrayals between comrades, and the entire world of Attack on Titan really just grabs your attention by making a very interesting place to live. And there's so many plot lines going on at once, it makes it so that even if one of these mysteries gets revealed, there's still something else you have to look forward to or are curious about. You're constantly asking yourself questions about the series. Where did these titans come from? Is there civilization beyond the walls? What is it like? Why are these titans mindlessly attacking them? What's up with the noble bloodline? What's up with these special titans that can transform differently? There's so many mysteries and intriguing parts of the story weaved in here that it gets pretty good. And I think the trick here is that he gives you little bits of story, but every time something gets resolved, you might even want to ask another question, or there's another new mystery that has now appeared. Now, after this series got enjoyable, it seems like there was tons of expectations on Isayama, and he had a lot of fans compared to before when he just started his first new serialization. And it kind of feels as if, to me, the pressure got to Isayama. And the ending was shockingly bad. It's kind of sad to see they took everything good about Attack on Titan and just threw it out the window. There's nothing really good left anymore. They resolve all the mysteries, and instead of talking about mysteries, they'll now move on to talking about characters in the series along with some politics. It's such a shocking change and so poorly thought out. It really makes me wonder why none of his editors really told him that he shouldn't do this, or if anyone told him that he shouldn't completely change the direction of his manga midway through. And you can sort of grasp at what he was trying to go for here. He's trying to illustrate a point about the cycle of violence and revenge and how that'll never lead anywhere. but it's so poorly done, and it's so hard to understand anything that's going on in a lot of these characters' heads. Like, these characters feel so dumb. The only way I could really understand a lot of these characters in Attack on Titan is by bashing my head repeatedly into a wall until I'm concussed, and then I can maybe understand some of their thoughts. All the politics and all the cult related stuff was handled by people who are so dumb and so egregiously stupid, even for Attack on Titan standards. Like, if the average person in Attack on Titan had an IQ of 30, these people would have an IQ of 10. I don't understand how a lot of these people are even moving their bodies. Some of the main motivations of these groups is purely just to genocide another species of human, or stuff like, if we prevent the Eldians from reproducing, we'll have world peace. Like, Dumb's thoughts so stupid that you can barely even comprehend what he was going for. There were several people who supported Eren's plan of genociding the entire population for some reason. Eren literally has the dumbest motivation. He just wants to kill all of humanity. For what reason, it's not really explained. He just says he can't think clearly, and that's why he wants to kill humanity. I was hopeful Mikasa would get some sort of development. Maybe she'd think a little bit differently, maybe not support killing the entire population. But no, she's the same character as she was in chapter 1, and she just wholeheartedly supports anything that Eren will ever do. And he just kept on bringing back the scarf that was wrapped around Mikasa's neck. Like, sure, that's a cool symbol, but like, just don't bring it up every single time anything about her appears on the screen. Like, it's not going to save this flaming wreck of an ending. Armin is supposed to be like the smart character in Attack on Titan, and you realize that Armin does get a lot of situations correct, but it's not actually because he has great logical thinking or deducing skills. He just spouts some random stupid bullshit, and it just happens to come true because that's the way Isayama wrote the story. Reiner literally is the character with the most development in the series, probably the most reasonable character in the series, but literally all this dude does, or manages to do, is cry and then repeatedly get his ass whooped. The ending just makes so little sense. It's hard to explain why Eren did the stuff that he did. Like, he could have done so much other stuff with the power of the founding Titan, but he just decided to murder the entire population. And even Isayama himself came out and said that he regretted doing the ending of Attack on Titan the way he did it. And even the person who wrote it can't endorse his own manga's ending. That's how you know that the ending was really bad. I actually quite enjoyed the series up until the time skip, but the time skip just ruined the whole series for me. I really hated Gabby as a character too, and a lot of the new characters they introduced later on. Also, a lot of these Titans did make a lot of sense to me, like the Tech Titan, the Armor Titan, Colossal Titan. It seems very standard, but then later on in the series you get stuff like the Cart Titan, which I was kind of confused about because that's very much different from a lot of the other Titans. Stuff like the Warhammer Titan, which it just sounds like is not like a Titan. Or even stuff like the female Titan. For some reason, there's just a Titan which is a girl. Apparently that's some special power. I will say though, the artwork was looking pretty good at the end. The action scenes in particular were looking a lot better. There's lots of great action scenes to the end of the series, but it's so hard to care about these scenes when the characters are so hard to understand. They don't have motivations. They're pretty one-dimensional. There's just not a lot to appreciate about the series later on. I'm feeling a light 3 to a strong 4. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me know what you've been reading in the comments, or if there's anything you want me to review. Please leave a like, subscribe, anything helps me out. Thank you everyone.